Got a little trail repaired, or trail damage repair here. Got a shock mishap. These Bilstein shocks have a stud that threads, I'll show you in a second here, that thread into the top of the shock, and that stud is only like 3/8 of an inch. I don't know that it's a whole lot different going into the body of the shock. We're at the wife's cousin's house, using a little portable welder. And the reason we're using the welder is because we've got a shock stud here. I'm going to show you in a second. Here, I'll show you right now. There's a stud that threads into the body and into the eyelet. It's stripped out of the eyelet on me here the other day. Noticed it after running wrecking ball. The thing I've done on the trailer, this whole body was down on the trailer below. So now I'm just gonna zap very carefully, so to speak. Not without, just little short stitches, let it cool so it doesn't smoke anything out in the shock body, hopefully. But I'm gonna hope that that'll hold well enough. I think these shocks are about toast. Something like this might come off here. Maybe. We can get enough sideways. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now, I'm gonna have to pull the lower shock mount. I don't need to pull the, I want to pull the rubber little eyelet out of there. So that's about all I was gonna do. So I'm just gonna pull the lower mount. Just gonna pull the lower mount here so I can get the shock completely out of there, and then I'm gonna weld all the way around because I really don't want this thing breaking loose. Because I only have less than half of this thing welded. No, if I'm here, I might as well just make this trail repair. It'll probably be almost permanent for these shocks. Well, it is permanent for these shocks. Make it hopefully a permanent fix that will be plenty safe for what it is being used for. Alrighty, get to do the manually. That's okay. At least we got a place to work on it, which I'm thankful for. And since I didn't have a welder, I'm really thankful that they're extra thankful for willing to let us use it. Okay, just gotta try to tickle this guy out of there. Imagine that. Need another tool. All right, found a hammer, but it wasn't the exact one I was looking for. Believe it or not, things are a little beat up here. All right. think she's bent, folks. I think she's bent. And we've got threads. Oh boy. I love bent stuff. Wonder why this thing isn't coming out. Is there a... the sleeve that's in the rubber bushing here. There's a sleeve that's in this bushing. It sees to the bolt itself. Have to figure out how to get this thing out of here. Well, I got the top welded up. Wasn't too bad. Easier than trying to cut all this apart or get it up. Just make a mess trying to get it apart. Like I said, drill repairs. Probably in this case it'll probably last quite a while. The welder I used was a Miller Renegade 180 little wire feed. Thing works well. I have to find one of those for the portable side of my business, welding business. Because not all the time is that the Trailblazer that I have the exact machine a guy wants, and sometimes you just don't need something that big. It'd be nice not to drag a generator around, so I think I'm gonna look into one of these. See if I can find one somewhere. Had plenty of punch. I didn't mess with guy's settings. Had a little more heat and wire speed than I needed, but there's one thing I know, I got good penetration. She's not likely gonna break. It'll break somewhere else. Probably alongside it, because with wire welding, the weld is typically stronger than the base material. If you've done correctly, it's most likely. I say most likely because it's been a long time since I looked at the books. And really, I'm more of a fabricator than a welder. You welders out there can tell me that. Could easily fill us in and tell us what is the truth. Is a steel or a properly done MIG weld or stick weld for that matter stronger than the base material? Like if you're welding mild steel, which I'm sure there's specialty alloys out there that wouldn't necessarily be the case. But what I do know is that whenever you weld with aluminum, it's a different story. Wow, this is most definitely wheeling life. If you build stuff, or especially if you're doing stuff like working with old stuff like this, you're gonna have breakage. You're gonna have things to work around. You're gonna have to adapt here and overcome. This is the off-road life on a budget. You end up fixing things. And even if you're not on a budget, you still end up fixing things. So it just comes down to what you're willing to go through to enjoy your hobby. There. One spare tire mount, welded back on. When this truck gets revamped, the spare tire mount may not stay here, but for right now, it's there. Now I don't have to have a strap on it. Got one shock fix from the wrecking ball trail, and we did get the piece of glass fixed. Now I just gotta go put the, oh yeah, we gotta put a little gear oil in the rear differential because we lost a little bit of that because the plug decided to back out. What a fiasco that was. So we're gonna put a little bit of gear oil back in and then put the door panel back on. And I think we are ready to rock. We'll be ready to rock and roll for the next trail outing of our tour de crawl. There's the net result of our trail repair. Okay, so why have I called all this stuff trail repairs? Like the shock, even though I'm not out on the trail. I call it trail repair because it's not really a proper or permanent solution, but so therefore I call it a trail repair because it isn't the proper or the permanent solution, but it'll get me off, keep us off and running for the rest of the trail that we want to run. Oh my goodness, I love gear oil. I need to get a knife. Got a knife here, so we're gonna dump about 2 quarts into the rear differential of this thing. 2 quarts of 80-90. Yes, we are using Super Tech. That's what was available. To be honest, I don't think it's all that bad. It all has to hit SAE standards, and to be honest, we aren't running this thing down the highway. This thing's got, if I remember, this thing even has the ring and pinion in this thing isn't healthy. In the back, this stuff gets changed out often. By often, I mean probably every couple 100 miles or less. Why? Well, it's just because this thing doesn't get miles put on it. For high miles put on it, gets trail miles. These shocks are, I mean, this whole chassis probably got no more than 600 miles of trail, or 600 miles of actual driving on it. If you look at the way it looks, you can definitely tell it's had a hard life. So gear oil gets changed out because ring and pinions get chewed up, or lockers need some attention. I don't think that first quart was all that full. I had signs of some leaking. Oh, no, we're there. We're there. Plug in and call it good. Other than a little bit of cleanup, so we don't have just a greasy, geary, oily mess. How many of you love the smell of gear oil? I know I don't. But maybe somebody does doesn't mind it out there. There we go. Now I got a little in there, so I guess I'll save it. Well, as you can see, we got a new piece of glass in there from the excitement on Wrecking Ball. The excitement you guys unfortunately didn't get to see because we just needed too many hands to make it all happen. Sorry. Well, I just got to put the door panel back on here. I might see if I can scrape a little more junk out of the glass junk out of the bottom of this door, because it sounds like a rattle. The audience is excited, they're getting fed. $14.75 later, we got the F-250 washed up, and I got the crawler washed off. Yes, this whole window experience, it's been kind of costly. The experience from Wrecking Ball. And ooh, she's filthy. Climb up here and put this in now. Yeah, Johnson Valley, where we knocked the glass out, beat the door back out, drove 35 miles out of the way to Coachella, California to get a piece of glass, and then to get this thing washed up and cleaned up from the drain plug. Oh, no. And then just the wet splashing through the creeks, which went faster than normal due to looking for the camera. I'm back to where I was prior to California. Clean truck, oil in the differential, glass in the door, wrinkled door, but it's always been wrinkled. Grand total of about $150 and 70-ish miles of driving out of here and there to get her all put back to square one. But we're back to square one, so we got, I think, probably one more trail day here in Arizona. That'll be tomorrow, and that might be it for the crawl to tour for now. We'll see. We'll find out. Depends how much fun we have tomorrow. So we're gonna carry on and see what else we can get into. Got a little more maintenance work today. Got to do some oil. Got to do an oil change, and I should rotate the tires on that F-250 because it's been a while. Want to stay ahead of the tires are looking really good. So, but they are also showing just a little sign of feathering, whisker. It's so minute, but I just don't want to turn in anything real because they're expensive. I really like the tires and I like to keep them quiet going down the highway. So that is what I've got to do next before I get back to hitting the trail.